Hey, what's up? It's Pat again, and welcome to the sixth and final video of this podcasting tutorial. And seriously, if you've made it this far, just a huge congratulations to you. I mean, you've done so much great work already, and you just have one final video left. And this video is going to be so much easier than some of the other videos. I mean, we've covered a ton of material already, from your equipment and software to recording your show, exporting it as an MP3 file, tagging it, hosting it on a media server, setting up your feed properly, and publishing your first podcast episode. And in this video, we're finally going to submit that podcast feed to all the important directories out there so people will listen to your show. And, just great work so far. This is the final video, but really it's the start of your podcasting journey. So come on, let's get started. So here we are back in the dashboard of WordPress, and we're here to get our podcast feed once again that we're going to submit to the podcasting directories. We'll just find it, copy it, and then we're all set. But before I get into that, if you've watched the last video, we've just published our first podcast episode. It's live on the site, and you can choose to now, after publishing your first episode, submit your podcast feed to these directories like I'm about to show you. But you may want to think about waiting until you have 2 or 3 episodes live on your site before you submit your show. And the reason for that is because if you were to submit just one podcast episode live on your site, one podcast in your feed, the directories are only going to show one episode since that's all you have. And that's okay. But when you publish your second, the second will show up in the third and so on and so forth. But if you were to just start with one, which is actually what I did, I actually had a lot of people saying, well, Pat, where's the next episode? I want more. And I actually wasn't ready for that, also because it was an introductory show. It just basically explained what the show was going to be about, how it was going to be formatted and things like that. I actually didn't have that much useful, relevant content to download. So I actually got a few negative reviews from impatient listeners who wanted more than just the introductory episode. Again, it's up to you, but you may want to think about having 2 or 3 episodes live on your site before submitting your podcast feed to give new listeners more than one episode to listen to. Either way, this is how you're going to submit your podcast to these directories, and we're going to start with iTunes. So first, like I said, we have to pull our feed and copy it, and to do that, we can go back into here, go to the PowerPress plugin, and you can go to Feeds, and here you're going to see that podcast URL here, which we validated in the last video. So I'm just going to right-click, copy link address, and good, we're all set. We're going to submit what we just copied to all the directories out there, first starting with iTunes. So the first thing to do is actually go into iTunes, open up iTunes in your computer. You're actually going to need an account. If you don't have one already, you're going to sign one up. You don't need to pay for anything, although you may need to submit your credit card information and things like that. Most of you probably already have an account with iTunes. And so to submit your podcast, actually go into the podcast section. You can just actually click on podcasts. And then over here on the right-hand side, underneath the podcast menu, you'll see the categories, and you can download the app and things like that. On the bottom here, it says Submit a Podcast. That's what you want to click on. So Submit a Podcast. And then here, just asks for our feed URL. And conveniently, we just copied that. So I'm going to paste that there and click Continue. And now it's asking me for my ID, which, like I said, you have to have. Click Continue. And now it should come up with a page that will show me a summary of the information that's in my feed already. And as you can see, it has the artwork, the name, the author, the short description, the long description, the category, subcategory, English, the explicit, is it yes or no, it is clean. And so it has all the information we need already because we set that up in the last video with the PowerPress plugin. And at this point, all you have to do is click Submit if all this information is correct. If it's not correct, you have to go back into PowerPress, update all this information, change it to whatever you want it to be, and then click Submit. And yeah, in the future, if I were to submit this now and it got approved, and then I wanted to change something, all I'd have to do is change these settings again in PowerPress, and iTunes will update. It pretty much updates every 12 to 24 hours, and changes will be made within the day or so. But at this point, all you have to do is click Submit, and I'm not going to do this because this is a hypothetical example podcast, but that's how you do it, and so pretty easy. Okay, next we're actually going to go to Stitcher. So to submit your podcast to Stitcher, which is an application on mobile phones that has a user base of millions of people who listen to podcasts, you can actually go to stitcher.com/content providers, no spaces, .php. So as you can see there, I'll zoom in on the video for you so you can look at that. Stitcher.com/content providers.php. And that didn't work. Well, actually, I may have copied this wrong. Make sure the P in providers is uppercase. And if that works, that's kind of crazy. But anyways, yeah, okay. So stitcher.com/content providers.php. The P in the word providers is capitalized. I don't know why it forces us to do that, but that's okay. And you can see here, this is where you can actually submit your podcast. So you want to give them your contact information, first name, last name, address, and all that stuff, your website address, everything with an asterisk is what's required. And down here, there's actually multiple spaces if you have multiple shows, but I'm going to close these right now so it's easier to see. Show name, you can just include that, which is a show name that you know that you have already. This is where we would paste our RSS feed right there. Show format, podcast, genre, you can pick the genre there. Language, current number of listeners, it could be, just be honest about what it is. You can put your Twitter handle, your Facebook page, and any keywords. You can just copy those keywords again from your PowerPress plugin if you want to do that. You can include this other information as well, because what you can do is you can actually partner with Stitcher and earn a little bit of revenue by sharing that app with other people. And just click, fill in this capture form and agree to the terms and conditions, and click continue. And then from there, you're ready to go. Again, it takes a little bit of while for Stitcher to approve that your podcast. But if you look up Smart Passive Income in Stitcher on your mobile phone or iPad or whatever, you'll see it there. And it takes a little bit of while, but that's how you do it. So again, stitcher.com/contentproviders.php with the P in providers as the capital letter. Okay, next we're going to go to the BlackBerry directory, and that's easy. It's blackberry.com/podcasts. And I think depending on where your location is, it'll redirect for your specific language. So as you can see here, it says us.blackberry.com and a whole bunch of other stuff. All you have to do is scroll down to where it says add your podcast today. Just click on that. Then it's going to ask you to log in. And at this point, if you don't have a BlackBerry account already, you're going to have to create an account. And most of you probably don't have one. So just click on sign up here underneath the login fields. There's terms and conditions. Yes, I accept. Does anyone ever read this stuff? I don't know. I guess you have to scroll all the way down to the bottom and then click I accept. Continue. Then it's going to ask you for some information here. Okay, so I have all this stuff filled up, and I'm going to click sign up. Okay, and at this point, it's going to ask you for, once again, your feed for your podcast. So I'm just going to paste that there. Click continue. And then you'll see something similar to what we saw on iTunes, something that pulls up your artwork, all the stuff that we've tagged already and using PowerPress, podcast name, things like that. You just want to make sure all these settings are correct. And then you're going to click continue. And then at this point, you can confirm that you are the podcast producer or owner of that show, so on and so forth. And you can click submit. I'm not going to do it because, again, this is an example podcast, but that's how you would do it. And at that point, it would take a few days, I guess, before you get a notification from BlackBerry that your podcast is in the BlackBerry directory. Awesome. Okay, the last important directory I'm going to point you to is actually Zune, which is at zune.net. And it's weird. I mean, really, the only way to submit, I believe there's some software where you can submit your podcasts and stuff like this. And a lot of people have been saying that Zune is kind of dying out for podcasters. But if you just wanted one more location, and it's always good just in case, if you wanted one more location to submit your podcast to, and that is to Zune, this might sound weird, but you're going to send an email. You're going to send an email to rob@zune.net. Just in the subject line, say, please submit my podcast. And in the field, say, hey, Rob, what's up? Please submit my podcast. Here's the feed. Just copy that feed once again, and that information should be up on Zune. Again, I don't know how many people actually use Zune to listen to podcasts, but it can't hurt you. So again, that email address, interestingly enough, is rob@zune.net. And that's it. So again, actually, just one more thing with that podcast feed that we copied from PowerPress, that URL that we pasted into all these directories. You also want to share that with your blog readers. Say, hey, if you want to subscribe to the podcast, here's the manual feed link for you in case you don't want to go to through the iTunes link, which you'll hopefully put at the end of your show notes, after every show, after you're approved by iTunes. Okay, and the last thing I want to do is I want to show you what it would be like to publish a second episode, just to go through the workflow really quick and show you how easy it is. After you've set this all up, after you've submitted your show to these directories, it's really easy just to add new episodes into these directories because these directories automatically read your feed. So all you have to do is publish another episode. It's going to put that episode in your feed, and these directories are going to update automatically. So just hypothetically speaking, I'm going to add a second episode here by going to Posts in WordPress and click on Add New. I would tag my show Security Guard Training HQ 002 Episode 2 title. In here, I would put my show notes, all the links and items mentioned in the show, subscription links, anything else that you feel would be useful for your listeners and people who come across your site. I would make sure to also include it in your podcast category here, so it easily organizes all your podcasts into a category in your blog. And then to actually put that episode into this blog post like we did before, you just have to include a media file link to that MP3 file here and click verify, and that's how it gets enclosed in this show, so that when you click on publish, it updates the feed and updates the directories in a few hours after that. So that's how you do it. It's that easy. You don't have to worry about anything else with PowerPress unless you wanted to change things around. But again, it's really easy. You could do, just create high quality stuff and pump out the content, and great stuff is going to happen. All right. Congratulations. You made it to the end of this video podcasting tutorial series. And, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you for spending time with me here in this series while I help you get your podcast up and running, and also wish you the best of luck with your podcast. Now, if you start a podcast as a result of watching this video series, I would love to know about it. Just leave a message with a link to your podcast below in the comment section, or send me an email at pat@smartpassiveincome.com. I would just love to know what you got going on and potentially listen to your show if I have the time to do that. And lastly, if you still feel like you need a little bit of help to get your podcast up and running, you want some hand-holding along the way, there is a premium podcasting course that I can highly recommend. It's run by my good friend Cliff Ravenscraft from podcastanswerman.com. You can find that course at podcastingatoz.com. Again, that's podcastingatoz.com. And, for a few weeks, you'll have direct access to Cliff. You'll be a part of a community of other people who are also starting their podcasts. And it has a 100% completion rate. So you will have a show up on iTunes after going through Cliff's course. And everyone who I've spoken to has gone through that course has just said nothing but amazing things about it. And Cliff is a wonderful person who, as I mentioned in video number 1, is pretty much responsible for the success of my podcast. So I'm happy to send people his way. Now, if you want to get $100 off the price of that course, you can use the coupon code SMART in the checkout area of that course. Again, that's SMART, SMART, for $100 off. And just full disclosure, that is an affiliate coupon code. So if you do use that coupon code, I will get a commission as a result. Thank you so much if you do that. Again, that's at no extra cost to you. And if you do use that coupon code, again, that's SMART. That's smart. Just send me an email and just let me know you did that. I would love to just thank you personally for that, and also follow your progress along the way and give you any support I can if you need it. So, that's it. Again, that's podcastingatoz.com, coupon code SMART, if you need that additional help. And if at this point, all I have to say is just thank you. Thank you, and good luck. And, get your podcasts out there, get it up and running, start producing content. And the more you do that, the more you put yourself out there, the more amazing things are going to happen to you as a result, just like they did for me because of my podcast. Best of luck to you. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I have a lot more videos to come. And I'll see you in iTunes. Take care.